Accomplished a lot of things. Worked on a lot of different sets. I've been working with Housewives of Atlanta since their second season. I just wrapped up doing Portia's gender reveal, so you remember when they had the poppers and stuff? I was the event planner for that. So a lot of the shows that you see, I'm behind the scenes, or sometimes I might be in front of the scenes, but I'm the one who's doing the product placement, or like the episode, like, I don't know if y'all watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, but there was an episode when Mama D was having like the construction crew working on the house for Scrappy and Bambi. I did the casting for the construction company to be able to do that. So I do a lot of stuff for like the networks and helping them. So one of my gifts is always trying to connect people and expand their brand and push them a little bit further. I feel like a lot of times people are afraid to go to the next level or go to the next step because they're like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough experience. Sometimes it's not about the experience. If you believe in it and you put your full effort into it, you'll accomplish whatever you put your mind to and heart desires to. So my whole thing, like I said, is this year is impact, 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 and connecting people. I want to connect each and every one of you to something different and to be able to have you more knowledgeable of the world that you're in. Just don't be in a situation and not know what's around you. It's a lot of connections that you can touch in this room just alone that may be able to build you up. You may find a mentor, you may find someone that can help consult you a little bit better on something, or it might be just one little suggestion they may be able to give you and you're like, oh, now I know what I need to do. So that's my whole purpose of doing this impactful event and wanting to connect. It may be a little slow in here, but I feel like, as we keep continuing and connecting with people, I feel like it's going to get bigger and the more people we touch. So that's my whole purpose of putting this on and wanting to connect and to share stories and connections. I want you to tell your story of how we met and what we just challenged you to do.
Okay. I like to talk, y'all. Like, love something. So, Jakeem and I met, I'm really good friends with Danielle Jackson. Her son is Miles Truitt. He was Will Ronnie in the BET New Edition movie. And he has a movie out called Ken, and he's in Queen Sugar and all those other movies and shows. So, it was really kind of weird how this whole thing happened. So Danielle wants to use her platform to touch other women, to encourage them. She was telling me how I was her hairstylist. I do hair as well too. So we were sitting there doing her hair, and she was like, you know what? 2 years ago, I wanted to kill myself. I mean, I'm like, what? And it was really took me kind of aback because I'm thinking you have this kid who's doing really well. You guys are doing so. Everything is going so great. But you wanted to run off a cliff. And she was like, that anxiety and those pressures, just really, can take a hold of you. So I'll say, she's like, well, I really need somebody to kind of help me, like, push this whole thing. I said, okay, all right, that's cool. She said, like, my publicist. I was like, okay. She's like, you want to be there? I was like, sure. So she was like, well, I know a guy. She said, Miles' publicist is Jakeem. And I said, okay. So she said, I'm going to link you guys together. I said, all right, cool. And at first, honestly, guys, I was a little scared. And it wasn't necessarily scared of what I was doing, but, scared of just change and doing something different, So she was like, well, I'll reach out to him, let him know you're going to contact him. So we ended up, he was like, well, just, call me. So I texted him, whatever, all this great stuff about me. And he was like, well, just call me at such time. So we linked up. And so we was like Thursday. It was like on a Thursday or something like that. We talked for about an hour. And he said, so you ready? You want to do a press run tomorrow? I'm like, tomorrow? No, I'm not. I'm scared again. And I'm thinking, like, all things I have to do, I have 3 children. I have 7 twins and a 9-year-old. So I'm thinking, okay, I got to be at this radio station at 6:50. We're going to get my kids to school. So I'm going through all this stuff while he's talking. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I figure it out. Very next morning we get up and I'm like, still like, I was so nervous, my teeth were just like, clenching. But of course I can't convey that to the client because he's gonna be like, who's this girl? Not even prepared. So, still super nervous. The guy walks up and I'm like, hey, I'm Melody, whatever. We had a great day. At the end of the night, he was like hugging me and everything. That's how I met Andre. He was awesome too. But in the night, me and the artists were like, he was like, oh my God, we had such a great day. Thank you so much. And I'll let Jakeem know you were awesome. And I really felt accomplished, and it really, he really like activated my faith, and was like, you can do this. You're going to, and he checked on me all day. I was like, you all right? Everything cool? Everything is great. We got the juice. We doing it. We in here. So, like, that was an amazing experience. And I feel like, once he just literally pushed me off the cliff, like, here I am soaring. So thank you.
I just wanted her to share that story because a lot of times, we be scared and don't want to just go out. So I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna push you. She literally had 24 hours to get it together. That too, yeah. So definitely, that's my whole thing that I like to do. So our first speaker is gonna be Ian Burke. I'm gonna let him introduce himself because he has a lot of things that he does. Everyone knows that he's the best in the business for music. So I'm gonna let him do his thing.
What thing is that? What thing you want me to do?
Get up there and talk.
Whatever you want to talk
Get up and talk?
Get up there and talk.
Okay.
Hi. Everybody good tonight? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. So it's good to see so many smiling faces, beautiful faces out there supporting Black businesses. Thank you to Jakeem for inviting me and having me be a part of this. So, this is new for me, this style, so, well, let me first ask, you all came here for a reason, right? And do you guys know all the panelists that are up here tonight?
No.
No? So why are you guys here?
You want to get to know. Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
So I know Jakeem, for me, he had me post my thing on my social media. Did you guys see the ads on social media? Really? Who saw the ads on social media? Raise your hands. Hi. Okay. So you saw the ad, right? So you're here just to support Jakeem, or are you here to see somebody in particular, or from everybody?
From everybody.
From everybody? Okay, so when you saw the ad, what did you do after that?
I did click on a couple of people's profiles just to kind of figure out who they were and like what type of industry they're in.
Okay, did anybody else do that? Really?
We didn't hear what you said back there.
Oh, sorry. I
Do I
clicked
need
on
to, oh, you
couple-
didn't hear her, okay.
a couple of profiles just kind of see like what industry they were in. Yep.
Okay, who else did that? Raise your hands. Hi. Good. Oh, just 2 people? 3 people? Okay, all right. So whose profile did you click on?
Well, I did click on yours. Jakeem, I've been actually communicating with. And then so when he told me that he was putting on this event and there would probably be other people involved, I said, okay, this is probably something I need to get a comprehensive look on the industry. So it wasn't just about music, but it was also about some things that we're working on. And I figured who better than people that have done it to hear their perspective and their experience.
Absolutely.
And see if they're credible in what they're saying too.
So what did you learn about me?
That you have worked with several people, well, let me not say several, lots of people in the music industry, helping produce, build their brand, from signing deals as well, and still doing it. So it's not a past tense, it's still current and relevant, the work that
Okay.
you're doing.
And who was the other hand that went up? Yours? What did you learn?
kind of the same thing she did.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is the main thing, he brought it up very well, it's all about networking. But with networking also comes education, research. And you guys got it so well because when we were coming up in the game, when I was coming up, he's still a baby. But when I was coming up in the game, we didn't have computers. We didn't have Google. We didn't have any of that stuff, so we had to figure it all out on our own. So I always ask these questions when I get started because I want to know why people are here. Why did you pay your money to come and sit down and talk to someone or listen to someone that you don't know anything about? That always kind of perplexed me. You know, are you just here to give a demo, or are you just here to pass out your resume, or are you here to really learn about what these people do that are on this platform? I only saw my thing with Jakeem Osai, so I never researched any of you guys, so I apologize for that. Jakeem should have done a better job. I wanted to see everybody. I thought I was the only one going to be here, to be quite honest. To my surprise, all these beautiful people. But yeah, that's my whole thing. I'm a firm believer in just educating yourself about whatever it is that you're trying to get yourself into. My rise was somewhat similar to Jakeem's. He was fortunate when he came here, the business was here. I moved here a year after high school in 1984, and just trying to escape moving to Florida with my parents who were retiring from New York. And if you know anything about Florida, for me at that time, it was the place for the newlyweds and the nearly dead. And I was neither at the time. And I just wanted to be close to my family, but I didn't want to be where they were. And not because I don't like my family, it's just, at that time, the place they were moving to was a swampland. I wasn't ready for it. So I moved to Atlanta. I heard about Atlanta and how great the city was, and you know, how it was coming up, and great thing for black people. And I was like, okay, cool. So I came here to study computers at DeVry. And as fate would have it, well, first let me say this, I grew up in a very musical household. My father was a musician. I'm the 6th of 7 children. So I had a wide range of musical influences growing up. When my brother, who is 11 years older than me, joined the Navy when I was a little guy, and when I went to see him, he was hanging around with a bunch of white people, so that's where I got my love for the Beatles, Elton John, Chicago, and a lot of other bands of that nature. My sisters were all into the Motown sound, so I got a good thing of Temptations and the Commodores, the Four Tops, and then the one family that changed my life forever, as they probably done with many of the people sitting in this room, was Michael Jackson and his 5 brothers. And listening to ABC for the first time, I actually was it ABC? What was the first single? No. What was the first single? All you children up here. No.
First single?
The first single. Dun, 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 dun. I want you back. I want you back. I want you back. So when I first heard that was a song that we had 45s back then. For you children, that was a piece of wax with a hole in it, real small. And we played it on what's called a record player. And that just changed my life, and I fell in love with music. And my very first concert at Radio City Music Hall was the Commodores, and opening up for the Commodores at that time was a very famous Jamaican artist named Bob Marley. So I got to see that. It was incredible. And then my biggest concert for me was the Triumph Tour, was the Jacksons and their release, and I was 4th row from the front. And I got to see Michael Jackson and all his glory and all the guys, and that just solidified my whole situation. And growing up I was growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, so I was not allowed to listen to Prince, which meant I listened to him all the time. And I went to Purple Rain, and after that, there was The Devil and the Angel on my shoulder, Prince and Michael on my shoulder. Those were my two musical influences, and as fate would have it, I got a chance to at least hang out with one of them. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to hang out with the other. But the thing of it is that I just loved music. Loved how you made it feel, how it made you feel, and everything about music. And as a kid, I would lay on the floor, and while I was listening to the music, I would read the liner notes. That was very important to me for some reason. I don't know why. I just like reading who wrote the songs and who produced it, who the manager was, where it was recorded, and things of that nature. And I had no idea that it would affect my life or would actually be creating liner notes later on as I grew up. So fast forward, moving to Atlanta, and one of the guys in my class was a bass player for a local band. And they were opening up for a band called Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes at a very popular Atlanta spot called Mr. V's Figure 8. And I went, they asked if I would help move equipment. And I said, sure, why not? And that one night changed my life. Being behind the scenes and moving equipment, setting it up on stage, it was really awesome. But I must say that the thing that really got me was the fact that there was a boxer, very popular boxer back then by the name of Sugar Ray Leonard. He was the Floyd Mayweather of that time period. And I was a big fan of his, and I got a chance to shake his hand. And he gave me this cool little wink, and I was like, this is where I belong. I need to be right here. I don't see myself doing anything else. And I dropped out of DeVry, and I started attending the Art Institute of Atlanta, graduated from that, and all the while just doing any and everything I possibly could in the music business. I went on to being the top roadie for the band, and to doing lights and sound management and booking. You know, I just soaked it all up like a sponge. And it was that passion that led me into a series of meetings of people that would later define the very fabric of the industry as we know it today. The first of those meetings was with a young gentleman by the name of Todd Thomas and a barber friend of mine by the name of Timothy Barnwell. And we became friends. They were doing music. They were doing a band called Secret Society, very Southern Public Enemy type of situation. And all of a sudden they became this real rural artistic situation. And the reason being is because Todd's parents, well, his grandmother and his brother passed at the same time within a week of each other. And when he came back from Milwaukee, he had this epiphany, and he sat us all down and said, I'm changing the name of the group to Arrested Development. And Ian, you're gonna manage us because you're older than all of us, and we're gonna create this music. And we all moved into a condo together, and we created Mr. Wendell. We created a bunch of songs that ended up being on the first album that went quadruple platinum. And all the while that was being created, and Timothy, who became headliner, was dating another friend of mine who was a dancer. Her name was Crystal Jones. I always thought that she was a very talented young lady, and I wanted to do something with her. So we started trying to experiment with a bunch of different things, a bunch of different groups and stuff like that to see how things would go. And there was a group out back in those days called Belle Biv DeVoe, which was an offshoot of New Edition. I was a very big fan of them. I loved the way they had merged hip hop and R&B. I just thought it was really cool. So I was like, what if we had a female version of Belle Biv DeVoe? I think that would be really cool. So I sat down with Crystal and said, we're gonna find some people, we're gonna develop this together. So, you okay right there? Everything good? Okay. we sought out to audition a bunch of members, which we did, and another young gentleman by the time that was growing up, was coming up with me at the time, young guy, named Rico Wade. He said, you know what, I got the perfect person for you. I got the perfect person to help you with your group. At that time I had 2 members, Crystal and another young lady. So we met up over the house, and of course, as fate would have it, the person he wanted to bring couldn't make it, so he brought this other girl, who to me was cute, but definitely not what I wanted. I was looking for a tomboy type of scenario, and she had on a nice little white pleather skirt, looking cute and too girly for me. And I just took one look and said, no, sorry, you're not gonna work. So I went in the back, and I was having a meeting with the guys, and Crystal stayed up front, talked to the girls, and talked to the girl, and came back and said, you know, well, just do me a favor, just hear her rap. And I was like, she's really not the look I'm looking for, and you know what I'm saying, but I'll let her rap. If you want to rap, she can rap. She came in, her name was QT, and she did this rap, and she sounded like a rapper that was really popular back in those days named Moni Love. And I was like, okay, all right. But what really got me was she jumped up and did this full split in that little pleather skirt, and I was just like, wow. Okay, all right. Well, I'm interested in going further with you, but this is definitely not the look I'm looking for. She says, well, I thought this was what you're looking for. I'm more of a tomboy. I like to wear my clothes baggy. I said, okay, so you don't mind doing a change? I said, no. She said, no, not at all. I'll change. I said, well, what's your name? She said, well, I'm Lisa, Left Eye Lopez, and, but you call me QT. Yeah, we'll call you QT. So I was excited about that, but I was still wondering about this other girl that Rico told me about. And I was like, you know what, I still want to meet her. You know, I got the 3 girls that I need, but I still want to check out this girl that you were so adamant about. And we went over to her house at 2 o'clock in the morning because she had to work that day. That's why she couldn't come in for the audition. And all I remember, and assuming that the TV movie just did not capture this right, but opening up the door and seeing Tian Watkins for the first time, I knew at that moment that she was a superstar and that she was going to be amazing. This very beautiful woman, no makeup on, she was just getting out of bed, still had a little dryness in her eyes, and I said, you're the one. You're it. And she says, well, would you like me to sing? I said, I don't care if you can sing or not. You're in this project. I wasn't trying to put together something I could sing. That wasn't my goal. I wanted to put together something that was entertaining. So at that point, I had my 3 girls. I kicked the other girl out the group. And I went with Tian, Lisa, and Crystal. And we called it Second Nature. That's what we called the group. And at the same time, I was running around with a young up-and-coming producer, and I needed tracks for the group. So I went to this producer and said, hey, would you mind producing this group? I had a package put together, a nice little package for it, let people check it out. He was like, yo, this is really cool. I was like, yeah, would you do the music? He said, I'll do the music for you in one condition. I have this group that I found in the mall, and if you do for them, package-wise, what you did for these girls, I'll do the music for you. I said, okay, well, what's these 3 kids, they're called A Little Funk, and just go ahead and do what you do. I said, all right, deal. So I took the 3 kids out, got hired the same photographer, took pictures, and he started working on the music for Second Nature, and we just did what we did. Now, why is all of that important? Well, A Little Funk, or ALF for short, turned out to be Crisscross. And if you don't know by now, Second Nature turned into TLC. In 1991, Arrested Development, Crisscross, and TLC all released music. The following year, they were all nominated for Grammys, and they all went multi-platinum, and Arrested Development took home 2 Grammys that year. And that was the start of my career. That was the start of the musical movement we now know as the Atlanta music scene here in Atlanta. And that's how I built my thing. No guidance, we weren't doing this kind of stuff that Jakeem is setting up for you guys right here. I just have to figure it out. So that's why I'm a very big advocate, or to me it's very important that if you're coming here and you're listening to me and you want to hear what I have to say, then you need to know who I am. Otherwise, I'm just talking a bunch of gibberish of why I'm here. What do you feel like you're going to gain from this? And when you leave here after eating all the wings and quail, what happens after that? You know what I'm saying? I've been to too many of these things. I've participated in too many of these things, and you know, you spent your money and you're going on and it's back to your 9 to 5. There's no real action behind you guys showing up here tonight. So I just want to see who's going to prove me wrong. Ultimately, who's really going to put forth the effort to really make their dreams come true, to change their lives. Because this is all I know how to do. I'm 53 years old. With no degree, I've ran several companies here. But I can't get a regular job because I don't have a degree. I have a certificate of completion. And even with all of my knowledge and all of my background and all the other people that I've touched, I haven't even scratched the surface of that situation. This is all I'm actually able to do. But I'm proud of that. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wake up every morning, excuse me, and I work from dusk to dawn. And I outwork people half my age because that's the fire, that's the passion that burns within me as it relates to this whole situation. And these millennials nowadays, it's crazy. They have no work ethic, you know what I'm saying? And that's because we're in a microwave society right now. Everything is handed to them for free, and they feel this sense of entitlement that they don't have to put in the work. That's not the case for me. I love the work that I do, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. All the mistakes were never mistakes, they were life lessons. And it's got me to where I am today. And no, I'm not bloody rich. I'm not where I may need to be, or be where people may feel I need to be. But you know what? I'm happy, I'm content. Because if I died tomorrow, I would have left a legacy for myself and my family to turn back and say, you know what? He did that. That's all that matters to me. I think that's all that matters. So when you pass, that people remember you for what you were able to accomplish while you were here. It's a sacrifice though. No wife, no kids. And it's really weird for a heterosexual male here in Atlanta. So, but it is what it is. So any questions? Yes, ma'am.
So what exactly do you do now?
Right now, I'm a consultant and a manager. I work at a studio in town called Icon Studios that I manage part-time. My friends own it. I consult labels, artists, and publishing companies. I have a couple of those clients. And I have a new artist by the name of Minnie Coops, an 18-year-old hip-hop star that just released her first project on Sunday night, Monday morning. And with the help of that beautiful lady back there, Gangsta Lynn, I call her Gangsta Lynn, she put together some incredible graphics for me to set up. And once again, that relationship came because of Jakim. Jakim actually brought her to me through another event that we did at Icon Studios. So I hope you really paid attention to what he said when it comes down to relationships and networking and things of that nature, because it's so important. You never know what these people that we run into today, what they could be tomorrow, what they're doing, and how they can change or impact your life. So when you're out here and you're networking, you're talking with each other, you know, keep that in mind. These two DJ superstars back here could be the next Funk Blaster Flex or DJ Khaled. We don't know that, you know? So while we look at them as a couple of teenage kids, they're looking at us saying, we're gonna show you up. Any other questions? Really, y'all done paid your money and nobody has any questions?
What question?
Okay, I'm gonna go there first and then we'll, thank you, panel lady. Go ahead.
I have a question.
I'm from Connecticut, and there's a lot of talented artists out there, but there's lack of support. Are you willing to travel and do panels in other states?
Have check, will travel.
Travel?
Have check, will travel. I go wherever the money goes. You know what I'm saying? This knowledge that I have and I've acquired, the one thing that I've learned, although tonight is for free, that's because of the relationship I have with Jakeem. But normally, this type of sessions, $250 an hour to sit down and talk to me.
I respect that. I'm also his client, so I'm here for support, but I'm also learning a lot also. So I appreciate you very much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. It makes me coming out here feel a whole lot better. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Definitely.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
When managing talent or artists, can you just give advice when managing, like
Yeah, sure.
what
Don't
to
do it.
focus on?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Run.
Too
Run
late.
quickly. Manager, you've heard it all before. Manager is a unforgiving position. It's a babysitting position. You are always wrong. You will never be right. If anything goes wrong, it's your fault. If anything goes right, your client is the hero. You know, and Lord forgive, they blow up and they get what I call selective amnesia. You know, they forget about the time they spent on your couch, on your floor, eating your food, driving your car, and having you be their personal ATM. So all of that goes out of the window because it's like, well, what have you done? What have you really done to deserve the right to follow me to this place and that place? You haven't done anything for me. And I hate to sound dreary about it, but that's just the reality of it. And the sad part about it is I still love it. I still run to it every single time. Because I'm good at it. There's nobody better than me. Well, I'm just being serious. You know, you ask the stars that I developed, whether it's Outkast, Escape, Soleil, or producers like Organized Noise, they all will sit there and they will tell you. And, you know, I discovered 2 Disney stars, which I'm very proud of. One is China McClain, and the other one is Navia Robinson, who's on the Raven show now, and also has a Netflix show. So I'm blessed and cursed with the sight of seeing things before they actually grow up. I see beyond what people see. I remember doing the photo shoot for the group you now know as TLC, and with the baggy pants and the hats and the hair covering the face, and the photographer was like, Ian, this is never gonna work. Well, what are you really thinking? And all I can say is, okay, thank you very much. Continue to take pictures, please. Paying you for your pictures, not your advice. You know what I'm saying? But that same photographer came back and just all he could do was shake his head and say, but I didn't see it. I saw it. I knew.
More questions.
Sure.
When managing, I'll say artists, what's the goal? Like, is it to like get them on a big stage? Is that something that you guys just talk about, or do you have a vision for them? And you put
It's a combination. It just depends. Of course, the goal is to win. Who sold more records? Let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? They love our music and they'll emulate it and make it their own. Who's the #1 rapper in the world right now? Let's keep it real. Even though Drake is doing his thing right now and he's halfway, who's the #1 rapper? Who was sold the most records in the hip hop world? Eminem, we all know. He's got an Oscar for crying out loud. So if we don't get out there and support our own, believe you me, you know, all of these kids, they blew up Public Enemy. You see these white kids and all, what are they wearing? PE shirts and things of that nature. Tribe Called Quest shirts. They love the culture. They support it. And I have a hip hop, I have a world champion hip hop beatboxer in my studio right now from Japan. Okay, this guy doesn't speak a lick of English, but boy, he can beatbox his ass off. So everybody loves the culture, they support the culture, but ourselves, and we are our own detriment, we are our own downfall. And until we start supporting situations, even with the boys here, you know what I'm saying? Whoever has kids here, you know that if he's doing a party, go out there and support the party. Bring your kids to the party. Let people understand, let people see them, let people talk about them, tweet, post, whatever it is that you guys do on social media. That's what needs to happen. So it's all about support at the end of the day.
I was the one. What did you say your name was again?
My name is Ian Burke.
No,
Yes,
but you
sir.
said speech. That's actually like Pops. He adopted me when I was like 15.
Really?
Taught something to that.
Okay, yeah. A very good friend of mine.
So,
Very good friend of mine. I'm very proud of watching his daughter grow too, Zoe, doing the big things that she's doing right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Yeah.
but I got you. I remember that.
And I have another question.
Sure.
You were talking about when you were putting together what we know now as TLC, this image you saw. And I know it plays a big part, like your brand now. That's what everyone talks about. Everyone's a brand now, you know, and they're trying to be consistent with what that is. And I know it's important, but is it important? You know, like really? Like, was that important for you to put them in the baggy clothes at that time?
Absolutely.
You were paying attention to that time?
Absolutely. I was paying attention to that time because, well, first let me start off here. What really got me into that whole situation? There's a movie when I was in school. We were set up to watch a movie called The Idolmaker. It's a very popular movie that came out in the early '80s, and it's based loosely on true events about this guy who discovered teen idols back in the '50s. And what this guy did was he would go to newsstands and he would read all the fan magazines. And he would look into what these people were into, whether it's Elvis or Jerry Lee Lewis or whatever. And for some odd reason, I adopted that thing. So I would go into the grocery store, pick up Teen Beat, Right On, Word Up, Fresh. All of those magazines, I would thumb through it. And who were they talking about? Who was always on the cover at that time? Belle Biv DeVoe. They had a very, very successful run, and that's what, in my mind, I was like, that's why it'd be so dope to do a female version. But up until that point, nobody had ever seen anything like that before. All the other girl groups, In Vogue, Sweet Sensation, The Good Girls, they were all glamorous. You know what I'm saying? It was all glamour, diva type of situation. Nobody, other than Salt and Pepper, but they weren't an R&B group. They weren't considered, they were just rap. You know what I'm saying? So my thing was like, I wanted to merge the two and come out with something different and something that people like me could relate to. LL Cool J also had a song out called Around the Way Girls. I love the girls with the bamboo earrings and the overalls and all like that. Like, okay, well, let's create that for other people who are into that type of scenario. And that's why I did what I did. I felt like the timing was perfect. I had no idea what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I was doing it for the passion, you know? So, but yes, that played a very important role for me to make sure that my vision was set and the brand, as it were, was showcased.
How old were you when all of this popped out?
I was in my mid-20s. 25. So long ago. Any other questions?
You know, he charged the solar fee, so this is, you gotta go to a session, so that's now.
Have you ever managed musicians?
Yeah. Well, in my early days, I'm trying to think, did I manage anybody? Well, other than Organized Noise, no.
Is there any reason why you didn't?
Never found one that I did have interest in some, but the deals never went through. As recently, it's a beautiful violin player that I chased after for a while. Just super talented, and she could sing, but we just could never make the connect. There was a saxophone player that was awesome. No, trumpet player. She played trumpet, and I actually had a scenario ready for her with Clive Davis, and something about female artists, man. Just they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, whether it's boys or cattiness with other girls, but that's where I've had my most success with. Whether you talk about TLC, the rapper Soleil, or Escape, it's always been with female artists. You know what I'm saying? Because, you gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. Yes, ma'am.
So you say that in a couple of years, well, you see yourself going into them, into that part of entertainment. Is it because of where the state of music is now?
That's part of it. That's part of it, but I feel like I've done everything there is to do in the music game. I think that the next evolution for me is film and television. Because I'm an avid film and television watcher, and I know what I like to see, and to me it's all about common sense. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff, but I feel like I know it, so I attempt to tackle it. You know what I'm saying? So, but mostly because I feel like, I'm not really happy with the state. It took a lot for me to do everything that I'm doing for this 18-year-old girl that I manage right now. I mean, she really pulled me out of retirement as it relates to managing somebody wholeheartedly and wanting to see this young lady succeed. But other than that, I have to be, in order for me to do my best work, you all right there? Need some water?
No, good, thank you.
Just watching it. I have to be inspired. Plain and simple. I have to be inspired. And people inspire me by just doing what they need to do themselves without having to ask me for help. And once I see that, then I automatically want to help. You know what I'm saying? It's like seeing that person on the corner with the sign up, and the first thing on my mind is like, okay, what are you doing for yourself? But if you got that water bottle and you're spraying the cars and you're trying to earn, hey, you know what, here it is, out in the marble, no, it's fine, it's clean, thank you, here's $5, thank you very much. Because I see you out there at least trying. Or if you're truthful with it, you know what I'm saying? One guy had a sign up and said, bump it, I want to tell the truth, I just want a beer. Here's $2, go get a beer, at least you're honest. So inspiration. If I see something that inspires me, I go balls to the wall.
And do you think there's a cutoff age-wise? A lot of people like to get them young.
You know what? I go either way on that. It just depends on the talent. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on the talent. I had a football player, former Patriot, who could sing. He was in his mid-30s or whatever, good-looking guy. And my thing was, okay, well, I can go either way with you. Said, okay, I know you can sing, but I think we should go film-wise with you too, or on the acting side. And so I ended up getting him 2 gigs on stage. One was with Candy's play when it came out. He got a lead role in that. And then I got him in a Tyler Perry play, Hell Hath No Fury, as a woman scorned, I think it was. So my mind was right. It just so happens that he also had another manager that was collecting a percentage of the work that I was doing, and I decided I didn't want to do that. If you're not going to bring something to the table, then I don't need to be here. You're collecting my money from my work, my connections. I'm selfish like that.
So do you sign a lot of contracts with people? Or
I don't like contracts. I don't. I signed a contract with this 18-year-old. And I waited till she just turned 18. I worked with her for months while she was 17. But as soon as she turned 18, I was like, yes, because no parental supervision, no courts or nothing like that. I can go ahead and do what I need to do with you. And let me just say this real quick. Because of the stigma that R. Kelly has put on this whole situation. There's no R. Kelly nonsense going on here. I'm strictly a talent guy. You know what I'm saying? And none of these little children can do anything for me. And I'm sorry for you R. Kelly fans who may be sitting in the audience, but he's a nasty MF. That's all I'm gonna say. Next. But I do contracts when I need to. I'd rather not, but that's what gets me in trouble too. Because a lot of these people, man, it's like, what can you do for me now? And in my case, it's always been, people pay attention to what I do because people know my track record. And it's real easy if you got the money and stuff like that, and you have the connections and stuff like that, you can get in somebody's head real quick. And you can get people to thinking, well, I'm not gonna really leave him, I'm gonna take him with me, but he can do so much, or she can do so much more for me. And it's like, you can't fight against it, you know what I'm saying? Once again, that selective amnesia comes in and they forget about the fact, it's like, don't you understand? I believed in you when you were nothing. These people are only coming around you because of what they see you are, not what you can become. And once you have been sucked dry, they're on to the next. And I'm still right here. I'm still right here. You know what I'm saying? But most folks don't get it. They don't understand it. And it is what it is. But like I said, I can't do anything else. So I'm stuck here.
Are you open to work with new artists?
Absolutely. If I believe in them, if I'm inspired, I'm definitely. I won't run away from anything that's a part of my problem too. Just learning how to say nope. You're super talented. You're super dope. But I'm always like, oh yeah, sign me up. Let's go. What we got to do?
With your experience, is it important for new artists or artists in general to have more recordings than to do live? Is it something that you should seek as you're trying to get more fans? Which way to go?
I figure it out. I don't, with the artist, the 18-year-old, she had a lot of fans from dancing. So her Instagram was 250,000 followers. So was that a factor in me deciding to work with her? Yes. Nowadays, that's super important. But I still have to, that was from dance. We're talking about doing rap, we're talking about doing hip hop now. So I still have to figure it out, how am I going to make this work for her? By the way, her name is Minnie Coops. The album is for free. The EP is for free on SoundCloud. It's called Kill Coops. What I did was I took the music from the movie Kill Bill, had my producer sample all of that cool music, made it hard, and made her go in the studio and rap about it. And she wrote some incredible rhymes. And I'm sure you guys will love it. We have some great features on there. So it would be really, really cool if you guys just listen to it, bloodstream, and maybe downloaded something for free. And then hit me. My Instagram is official _ Ian Burke, IANBURKE. So it would be really cool if somebody here, or all of you, if not all of you, hit me up and said, you know what, we listened to it and this is my favorite record. Or, you know what, this really sucks, but thank you for talking to us anyway. I take it all. I have very thick skin.
What was that IG again?
Official _ Ian Burke, IANBURKE. And it's on this really cool little mini sign here that Gangsta Lynn created in an hour and a half.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned, which is perfect, it was a perfect lead-in.
She is really getting her money's worth right now. I was worried about her because she's just, doodling over there. I didn't know it was going to be like, she's alive now. Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned that you sampled some music. I feel like that's what everybody's doing, just recycling, speeding up.
Well, I did that because I didn't want to sell it. So I purposely sampled the music because I knew I wasn't going to be able to sell it. I didn't want to sell it. I wanted it to be like that little Chinese lady in front of her store in the mall, handing out free, handing out free. That's what this is, right? It's a free piece of chicken. It's like the chef over there with his chicken wings and quail pigeons that he has. He's giving it out. And if we like it, we're going to go to him and we're going to be like, hey man, we need you to come do our party. You know what I'm saying? We're going to pay him for it.
Okay, so that would mean that you're looking to put her in front of some audience.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't know, maybe this couple right here will do a house party and say, hey, we want your girl to come perform because our sons are doing a house party for teenagers. That's how we network. Set it up.
And then gangs over here builds the website for free to promote it.
What's that?
Have it right here at the venue.
See that? See that? See that? Already, we got a full concert in a few seconds.
We got 2,700 kids in my building.
See what
To the school.
Charge them a quarter to get up in there, and we'll take care of everything. Jackie, listen, man, I can sit here and talk, especially to her, all night. These other panelists are like, okay, brother, we thank you very much. We want to go too.
So give them a round of applause.
Hi everyone, my name is Ayana. I am the owner of Blitz of Atlanta. Blitz of Atlanta is an event planning company, so I do end-to-end event management. I started out with my kids' parties. My oldest daughter is 21 years old. I started out doing her birthday parties, and one party turned into another. And then, of course, friends started asking if I could plan their parties, and then it turned into weddings. And then within the last couple of years, the business literally took off at a pace that I could barely keep up. So, how many of you guys have seen the movie Field of Dreams? Anybody? Yes, okay. So there's a phrase in Field of Dreams that stuck out to me when I saw the movie, and it says, build it and they will come. I live by that. And initially I was afraid. I was really afraid of just jumping out into the entrepreneur world. I worked in corporate from age 21 until May of this year. So my dreams were always part-time. I'm a stylist and also, again, an event planner. But I always did it part-time. On the weekends, Monday at AT&T, behind the desk, sneaking on my phone to manage my clients or to answer any questions that they had. I'm sure a lot of you guys can attest to running away trying to answer a call or text to handle your business. So it got to a point at AT&T where I started doing events for the company. But guess what? I wasn't getting paid because they deemed it as, oh, you're showing leadership skills in the organization. And I'm like, no, I'm showing party planning skills and I need to get paid. So I eventually ended up telling them that I have an event planning company. It's not just something that I like to do. So my boss said, well, you know what? We're going to pay you like we would pay anyone else. So I put on this huge event last year, actually, for Christmas. So they were knocked off of their feet. They had never seen anything like it because I literally put my foot in that event because I wanted them to know who I was. So long story short, this year in May, the company, it's actually been it was 3 times in a year they came and they said, oh, we're going to surplus, we're going to lay off, and so the first time, barely made it. And the crazy thing is, I was on vacation, I was out of town with my kids, and I was so nervous I couldn't even enjoy the trip because I'm like, am I going to go back home, am I going to have a job, what's going to happen? So I couldn't enjoy my trip. So I said, you know what? I don't really like anybody having this much control over me. It says, can you buy a car, not buy a car? Can you buy a house, not buy a house? Because you don't know if you're going to have a job. So I said, you know what? I really don't like anybody having this much control over me. So they came again and they said, oh, we're laying off. So I missed the first one. It was good. I still had a job. They came back and they said it again about 6 months later. They said, we're surplus and we're going to lay off. So this time they asked for volunteers. So I prayed and prayed and prayed about it. And I asked God if it was meant for me to go ahead and volunteer because I was just going to take my little coins and run. Long story short, I volunteered, but I still wasn't selected because even though you volunteered, they had to say okay. So I still wasn't selected.
Well, in May of this year, they came back and they said, oh, we're gonna, can you volunteer? And I said, listen, I'm raising my hand. So this go round, I was actually selected to be surplus. And it was the best thing that I actually could have done in life. I have been out of corporate since May of this year. I signed my lease here in June, 1 month after, and I opened the doors September the 1st. Since I have opened the doors to this building, I have been booked every single weekend. Every single weekend. So I said that to say, y'all, believe in your dreams. A lot of times we hold ourselves back. Networking is the key to every single thing. After, again, I left in May, and things just started falling in my lap. I got a call out of the blue. I have no idea who, why, or whatever, but I got a call saying, hey, we have an event with the brat. She wants to do an off-probation party. I've never worked with a celebrity in life. I knew nothing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do this party. So when I got there, the lady said, well, do you want to go get yourself together because you're gonna be you're gonna be on film and this is going to be on TV and I was like, what? So I said, well, you give me 5 minutes, I'll be right back. So just like today, I kind of went to the back of my truck and said, let me throw something on, whatever. As you walked in and I had on the hoodie and t-shirt. So anyway, I said, give me 5 minutes, I'll be right back. So I went to the back of my truck. Luckily, I had a Glitz t-shirt back there. I kind of got myself together and came back in and I put on the event of my life, right? And I literally put on. And that's what you have to do. If you gotta fake it till you make it, do that. Because they, of course, did not know that I had never done a celebrity event. And I did that, I ain't gonna lie. So, again, I just wanna let you guys know that believing in yourself and believing in your dreams is the key to your success. So, as much as you want it, show them. And again, like the movie said, build it and it'll come. I built this and they come every single weekend. Over and over again. So I actually have Miss Monique here who has booked at least 6 events this year. She has 6 events on my calendar. Her first one was last weekend. The pleasure of meeting Jakeem has been mine. We actually met. It was kind of crazy that she and I actually started working together, and she knew Jakeem, and she sent him a message saying, hey, I want you to meet someone, but we actually connected on the same exact day, so I feel like it was destined for he and I to meet and to connect on the level that we have. Since working with Jakeem, I have been introduced to a number of different people and have done a number of celebrity events. Which has definitely put my name out there on a different platform. And again, I quit corporate and then I actually had to leave the salon because this took off faster than I could even keep up. So I ended up having to refer my clients over to another stylist because I just could not manage doing all of it. So that's another thing that I definitely want to tell you. You can be a jack of all trades and master of none. So I definitely want to encourage you to find your dream, find your passion, find your purpose, and turn it into profit.
Yes.
How are you guys doing? Y'all had a long one, so I won't be long. My name is Monique Hall, and Jakeem, when he put the things up, Jakeem is a personal friend of mine, and I met Ayana. Prior to that, in a bind, I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I'm a publisher. I have worked with everybody and anybody, and this year, in particular, everybody wants to write a book. I also own a bookstore in Stonecrest Mall, and I opened it because I am the literary agent and promoter for the Essence Award on the literary side. And with Jakeem's help, when I met Jakeem, he was just coming off R&B Divas at that time. I met him after the R&B Diva time, but during the Jamie Foster time. And we met through a relationship that I had of 20 years, I think. of Q Parker and Shalinda, and they were on Big Rich Atlanta. So everybody who's probably slept on my sofa, from Breon Prescott, Akon was my neighbor, T.I. was upstairs, Eddie Long was my neighbor. I've had the experience of coming to Atlanta like him in a different manner. But before I tell you the glitz, I can tell you that God can change any situation that you, if He puts you in a position. Sometimes it's a tight position, but you never would know. Okay, I came from Florida by way of Houston and Detroit as a basketball player on a scholarship at Payne College. I lived the first black family in the white neighborhood. Wanted to go to a black college. My mama said, you can't go to Clark, you can't go to Spelman, you're gonna get in trouble. Atlanta's too big. So I went to Augusta, Georgia. And trouble will find you anywhere, okay? And it found my ass. So, long story short, I was playing basketball. I was super fine back then. I ain't, but I'm gonna get there. But I was super fine back then. And I ended up meeting a gentleman who didn't know he was a drug dealer, but he was. He owned a car wash, a chicken place, and everybody in Augusta knew him. So my coach pulled my coattail one day, because at a black college, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna pull your coattail. He's like, a little bit, that man's a drug dealer. I'm like, no, he's not. Got the car wash going. And I had fell in love by this time. And then when he finally told me that's what he was, I thought I was in love. Matter of fact, I knew I was in love, but he was my everything. So my coach had called my dad, and he told my dad, and my dad came up there, and I was like, he ain't a drug dealer. And if you looked at him, he didn't have gold teeth and all of that. He was a grown man, okay? So and I was 18 years old. I just fell in love. And I was with him my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year. And going into my senior year, my brother came and attended the college because he couldn't pass the ACT or the ACT. 6'7", great athletic skills, dummy, okay? So what happens is when you got the Florida States looking at you as someone that's equally, but they can pass, and you only had to make at that time, I'm 46, so I think we had to make a 17 or 19 on ACT. That was it, okay? He couldn't even do that. So a black college would take you and redshirt you and say, I'll use you for my situation. And that's what they did. But when they redshirted my brother, he got in the streets. I had introduced him to my brother, and he got in the streets, and now they doing their thing. Now I'm turning a blind eye to all of this because I still got the car I'm driving in. I got the asymmetrical haircut. I'm getting my shoes and everything I want done, I'm getting it done. And my brother then at that time decided I'm gonna go back home. I don't even want to be here anymore. So he left. But when he left, he didn't tell my parents, and he started running with the wrong crowd. I'm already running with the wrong crowd, and he running with the wrong crowd. He ended up getting locked up, and he ended up becoming what they call a CI, or an actual informant for Florida, and 34 people got locked up. He was one of them, okay? So when he got out, none of us knew, and all I knew was when he got locked up, we had to come get him, which then involved my boyfriend. He had nowhere to go at the time, so he came back there, and he ended up setting my brother ended up setting my then boyfriend at the time.
Wow.
And from that point, I was taken from Payne. You can look at it. It was all on the news. It was everywhere. And they call it kidnapping because you're taken from Augusta and they take you across the lines, and now it's kidnapping.
When you feel like, you kind of want to venture out a little bit, they're like, no, stay right here with us. Because we started you.
No one can, if they're not paying you,
They're
you're free.
paying me.
Okay, you're paying. But did you sign a non-compete?
No.
Okay, so here's the deal. People that have gifts and people that get gifts have to know when to let people go and let them fly. For instance, if Niecy would have stopped him because her show stopped from dealing with Shanita, who then introduced him to Jamie Foster, then he wouldn't be where he's at. We gotta stop. See this? This is a fist.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing get in this fist if it's like this, okay? But if you open up your hand, everything's gonna flow into that. And that's what you gotta realize. And don't be afraid to walk away. Because if he blessed you with that particular situation, he'll bless you with another situation. And I can attest to that, because I used to be afraid to walk away. I did, and for that, and up until last Tuesday, I had not spoken to Sabrina, who I love as a person, but I had not, somebody I spent 20-something years with, that we really are friends based off a situation I made a choice to walk away from something. And that was 2013. Okay, and it was, Jakeem could not believe that I was, what is it, Twisted Soul Food or whatever? Twisted Cafeteria. I actually went to this little restaurant, and it's right next to Tula too. And I said, I cannot not go into this situation and do it. And they've done the same thing. They had to walk away from other situations to make it good. Destiny's Child. If Beyonce wouldn't walked away, she wouldn't have been Beyonce. You gotta be able to know when to walk away. And then also know that you gotta give people time to heal from those particular processes, because you can love people but just not be in a good place with them at that point. And so you gotta pray and say, all right, God, fix it. Because I used to pray that all the time. And Jakeem used to be like, Mo, when you gonna go, when you gonna go? I had talked to Charlinda, but I hadn't talked to Sabrina, and I love them both equally. You see what I'm saying? So those are things that you have to do, because people have to be okay with you being okay with moving on. You know? That's the main thing. Yes, sir?
Finally.
I'm sorry.
No, you fine. But first and foremost, I wanted to commend you, like, on just keeping that faith.
Thank
Let me do everything. And, like, just coming from a person that you definitely relate. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I just did, like, a 4-year bid.
Okay.
And I was incarcerated since I was 19. You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting out a few months ago.
Okay.
And my godbrother could tell you, like, I was telling him all the plans I had the whole time I was in there. And I really wanted to pick your brain when you get a chance about that.
I'll give you my number. Okay, definitely, because here's the
Internship,
thing.
y'all.
Yeah, definitely, I'll give you my number, like literally. Here's why. In them 4 years that you did, you had a lot of thinking, a lot of count times, about to tell you can't do something. I've been through it, done it out, like literally, I really have. And you don't want to go back, you know what I'm saying? And there will be times that you will think, okay, remember them count times. You know what I'm saying? If you can remember that, because that's the worst thing to me in the world is that 5 o'clock count time. You know, or I hated to be counted. You know what I'm saying? Where we don't win. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things, and for those that haven't been incarcerated, they count you all day and you ain't went nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So every day, you don't have no control of yourself. You want to make sure you have that. So definitely reach out, because I love helping anybody that way, because it was your situation at the time, but it's not your circumstance. It's not gonna be bad.
I never became too complacent. That's
Yeah.
one thing I never did. Like,
That's good. That's
and
really
more
good.
to it. But definitely, I just want to let you know that.
Thank you so much. But before I leave, I'll make sure I give you my number. I'll give everybody a card for just in case, because I have to leave too. But I want to make sure you have my number, you know, and everything. And I need to get your graphics information. But definitely, you know, whatever you need, it doesn't matter. I'm probably connected to something that I can help you with and point you in the right direction. Okay?
I'm going to keep it short because I know the hour is getting late. But my name is Michael Jenkins, and I am the owner of Graphics in Atlanta. My company does graphics, graphic design, web design, printing. It's actually a company that I started years ago with my brother. It started when we were kids. I'm growing up in the neighborhood, and people would get us to draw things for them, design flyers, business cards. We used to have a little print shop program where you would do like the 12 business cards on the page and perforate them. And it just became something that we did over time. Our lives both took different directions. My brother went to the Air Force. I went to college. I went to Morehouse. Afterwards, I went to the Peace Corps. I had a chance to go to South Africa, work for 2.5 years, training primary school teachers. Came back, decided to work in government and then in nonprofits. So I did corporate fundraising for about 8 years. But was always kind of running the company as a part-time job, as others have said. I did that, and I think someone else mentioned, you know, ducking away during your lunch break to try to answer client calls. I had a job where I would travel and I would be running back to my hotel to try to finish designing books and designing flyers and programs. And there was one point where my brother had decided to get a storefront. We found this great location over on Peachtree, and he said, "I really need your help. You know, we were, trying to take this company to the next level." So I quit my job, went and told my boss. She was dismayed, and I said, "I gotta go. I gotta do this full time." And ever since then, I haven't looked back. It's been a great blessing. I can't say that it's always been easy, because being an entrepreneur, there's ups and downs and running your own business. But I've been truly blessed. I've always eaten. I've always been able to pay my bills. So God's been good. Like I said, I left my company, my job, to go into my business full time. About 1.5 years later, my brother decided he wanted to do some other things, had a fiance, because I had to leave the business to go and do real estate, and it was just left on me. But again, I had some great people. And one thing that Jakeem mentioned was actually building partnerships with people. I moved into a building, moved from my office on Peachtree. I had an office right next door to Jakeem. He brought me in on some projects. And again, it's just been blessings after blessings. I don't really do much advertising, and I stay so busy. I could probably work from 5 a.m. until 5 a.m., which is the time I normally go to bed doing work. Because, you know, I've just been blessed, and I think that comes from doing stuff. Someone talked about doing free stuff. I actually started out, you know, doing stuff for free. I remember once she had me do all her wedding invitations, printing, designing, gluing rhinestones on and everything. And after I did that whole job, it took me like a week. I was like, I made like $20. Which was her really just reimbursing me for the paper. And I did that for many years, and then I realized that, you know, I had a skill where I could actually make money, and I needed to start really charging people. And, you know, I had to transition, and sometimes people get upset when you start telling them, no, you got to pay for it. But you find ways to balance it. And I still, you know, a lot of times I discount things for friends, family charities, nonprofits, but I try to bring on larger clients that can actually pay me. And I've been blessed to be able to do some great things. Last year, I had an opportunity to go with a group of professors, PhDs to Cameroon and spent a month there. Wow. I did their whole website, I did photography for them, did a video documenting their experience, all paid for. So that was a really great opportunity. Someone brought me on to doing John Lewis's 75th birthday and did all the flyers, got to do a big billboard of programs. So again, it's just been blessing after blessing. And I think that it's an attest to hard work, being dedicated. One thing I always tell people when they go into business and when they start their own venture is to always strive to do your best, whatever it is, no matter how big the client is, no matter how small it is, always strive to do your best. And you'll be surprised at how people will refer someone to you. Someone will say, oh, I saw your work somewhere, and they'll bring you on to another project. So that's pretty much my story. I'm pushing, I'm growing. I'm excited to continue to do what I'm doing. Thankful to Jakeem for bringing me out. One of the things that I'm moving more into, and I think someone else talked about this, doing more branding. I, again, have had an opportunity to work with companies that are starting up and building their entire brands. There was a restaurant that I had a chance to work on. I did everything from their websites, their t-shirts, their menu boards, and everything else in between. Their signage, out hanging out, putting like their logo on an awning above their store. So it's just been a great experience. And for anyone that is starting a business and are thinking about what are the steps, I'm always open to helping you to talk about what I did, and then also helping you with branding yourself to really put out great products so that you can really represent yourself to the public. So that's it. Any questions? Yes. Anyone? All right.
Have you heard of Diamond Faces Skincare Bar? Have you guys heard of that? That's me. I So let me tell you a little bit about my story. Yours is definitely inspiring. I moved to Atlanta I got off the bus in 1995 on November 11 with $50, and I was homeless. Running from a Muslim household. My father sold drugs. I hadn't even started my transition, let me say that. Anybody know that a Muslim household is very strict? There's a certain way you go to the temple, you can't eat this, you can't do that, so I had to do everything that I was told to do. My family was big on conspiracy theories, big on education. My grandmother's big definition was walk with a purpose, dress like you got, walk like you have somewhere to go, and eventually you will. And these are some of the things that she invested in me as a child. I didn't come from a rich family. My mother was abused by my stepfather, and I watched that from the age 5 to like 13. So, as we all know, your childhood reflects your adulthood. Yes. So I had to go to Norfolk State University because that's what I was told I was supposed to do. Go get education, go to school. And of course, unfortunately, when you're in high school, they tell you to go to school, but they don't tell you that it costs. Yeah. I come from a black family, we didn't have money. Right. So I go to Norfolk State, pack up my stuff, get down there, and I have no housing, like a lot of black colleges. Right. No housing. So all the money I did save, I had to move into a two-bedroom apartment with 8 other people. They stole our refund check. And things were really hard. They didn't prepare you for this in high school. So we took out my grandmother said, we took out a little loan or whatever. And you did, but they had to have it paid back for a certain time. Didn't know that, didn't understand that or whatever. So the 30 days up was loan, I go to class, they said, if your name isn't called, you've got to report to the financial office. So it was no need to go to the financial office because I knew that it was kicking my ass out of school. So I walked across the street. Well, I switched my ass across the street. And I was like, what am I going to do? Wow. I can't go back to, I don't want to go back home. I don't want to go back to Richmond. I don't want to go back to being rigid or being told who I was supposed to be or what, because I wasn't for sure myself what I was. Yeah, you know. So I scrambled up $100. It was $100. My ticket was $50. I left off of Virginia at 2 o'clock in the morning. I caught that long ass bus ride all the way to Atlanta. Now I had an aunt that did hair down here, but she lived in Conyers. I had no idea what Conyers was.
In the middle of nowhere.
I had no idea what Conyers was. It was closer to here now, but now that I know that, but I didn't know that. And I was trying to find myself. So I didn't share 2 sons. I was like, I can't go live with her, but what am I gonna do? I'm on this bus now. So I get to Atlanta. Anybody that knows Atlanta, the bus station where it is now was not there. It was over there by, well, I think Centennial Park was in that area. So I got off the bus with a trash bag full of clothes and $50. I had a heart full of fear and a head full of ideas. I didn't know how to do any of it. So what I would do was get up at about 6 o'clock. Well, stuffed all my stuff in a little locker. You know they used to have lockers at the bus station? I stuffed all the little clothes that I did have in there and threw the other clothes away so I couldn't losing stuff. So I would get up in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, I would go to McDonald's and get the 50-cent biscuit with jelly, strawberry jelly, depending on how I feel. And at 12 o'clock, I would go get the 2 for 2. Remember I had the 2 for 2 McChicken? So I would eat one for lunch and one at dinner.
How to survive.
And I would sit in the corner like this at the bus station at night and sleep. So that no one would do anything to me because I didn't know what else to do. But I would walk the streets in this time. So I would get up in the morning, brush my teeth, take a little wash up in the bathroom, and hit it. At 19, you know, you think you know everything. You got it all planned out. I'm planning it. Don't nobody know what's going on, you know. So this person, her name was Sizzle. She was like, what you doing up here? I was like, I'm here. I don't even know what that's all. Some kind of lie. She was like, well, don't come back because they're going to arrest you. I was like, arrest me for what? She was like, loitering. I was like, what's that? Not knowing that I was doing something wrong. She said, you don't think that these people know that you're washing up and brushing your teeth and want to come back at night? They're going to arrest you. And I said, don't come back. She said, I have an apartment in Decatur. And if you want to come just rest yourself, you can come rest yourself. I had no more money. I'm hungry as hell. I'm tired of eating 2 for 2. I'm like, what have I got myself into? Needless to say, long story short, met up with her, and she had a stick shift. And y'all, anybody know how to drive a stick? Mm-hmm. So you know, the stick shift, the way that you need her car to start, we had to open the door
And push it?
and put our feet. I swear to God. So we did this, and I'm like, uncomfortable myself. What have you done or something? Bitch, you don't have no money. You didn't call it the strange person. We are starting to call it the Flintstones. Bitch, you fucked up. You know, that's in my head. But I go to the house, and I get there, and this is the first time I'm taking a shower in a month because I've been taking a wash up. So I go to bed. She said, well, I got a 3-bedroom apartment. Just rest yourself. I cried myself to sleep because I realized it's hit me. I'm 19. Me and my mama ain't talking. Me and my dad in jail, prison because he's talking dope, you know. So I'm all messed up. So the next morning I get up, rush. I get up and try to get up before she do, and I'm sitting on the side of the bed. She said she walked up. She was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "I figured you want me to go back to the bus." She said, "I told you to rest yourself, but we can talk later."
Wow.
Came home and we had talked about me, about who I was, what I've been through. I had a job in 2 weeks, and this was in 1995, okay? I always had a passion for makeup. My aunt did hair, so she had a salon. Like I said, she lived in Conyers. I had no idea what Conyers was. I was in Atlanta for a month working before I even let my aunt know I was here. So when I showed up at her shop, because at the time I forgot how we found the address. Sizzle found the address for me. And I just showed up at the shop. She's like, what you doing? I was like, I've been here. She's like, how long? I was like, for 2 months. She was like, where you been staying? I was like, in the street, different places. She was like, how you lost your mind? And I was like, me and my mother wasn't talking because when you're trying to find yourself, sometimes you have to separate yourself. Because a lot of times people tell you, like she said, what you can't do, what you can't do, what you can't do. Now, let me say this. Like herself, I was a hot girl. I was surviving. I wrote checks just like she wrote checks. I was from Jacksonville, Florida, and they're saying that you will come on vacation and you will leave on probation.
Wow.
Okay. So I did the same thing she did, okay? After I got out of jail, I went to work at my salon. I was assistant, doing makeup, and doing little shows around the city of Atlanta and stuff. Then I started working on the strippers. Working at 5, I had to show up 559, all these different places. I would go to do makeup for all the entertainers and stuff. So, needless to say, I was like, I want to do makeup. This is what I want to do, you know. And during this time also, this is in the 90s, so I hadn't even transitioned to myself yet. So I started doing drag shows around the city and everything. And a lot of times they're saying, well, you can't do this because you're this way. Or you're not accepted like this because you're this way. So of course, you start to believe those things. Okay? And I started believing. So I was sticking to I started doing eyebrows for $5. God. And I ended up moving into a rooming house, okay? Up at Mosley Park. The rooming house was $65 a week. Good, okay? But I feel better. It's my little spot. I'm catching a train, 2 trains and 2 buses to get all the way to the States. I'm not in jail or whatever. So, my aunt was like, why you don't do nothing about the eyebrows? I was like, well, I mean, because I'm thinking about it. Did not believe in myself. So this girl was like, well, why don't you do my eyebrows? Shay, I got a show tonight. I didn't know she was a stripper. Come with me to the club. I was like, so what club? I think it was Jazzy T's Woman Club.